So, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Today I have Miss Samantha. Samantha is one of our in-house readers at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. She's typically there every Thursday and she fills in other days. She's a fifth generational reader. The cards that she uses in her readings are from the 1800s, so they're old and have been created. So such a cool experience to be able to connect with her and the card. So welcome, Miss Samantha.
Hello.
I'm so glad to have you here on the show. So talk to us a little bit about your story. What took you down this path, how your family got these cards, and just share with us a little bit of that story.
Okay. So originally the deck, which I have right here, it's the original deck. It was made by a woman who my great grandmother tells the family is she was in prison and made the deck in the prison in Las Vegas, New Mexico. And when she got out of prison, I don't know what she was in for, but when she got out, she met my great grandmother, Magdalena, who was a teenager, probably 15 at the time, in her home village of Las Vegas. It was a territory at that time. It wasn't even a state yet, New Mexico. So she really took a liking to my great grandmother and passed the deck down to her. And shortly after, she got married to my great grandfather, and they had all their children on their farm in Las Vegas, and ended up selling and moving up north here to North Denver. And my grandfather ended up passing away before my mom was born, but my great grandmother took care of my mother like her own daughter, and taught her how to read the cards. And at that time, a lot of Latino, Mexican American families were very Catholic, very religious. Something like this was not okay with the religion. But she knew that because she was before colonization, she lived off the land, and she knew like stuff like this was real, healing with herbs and spices, and all of that was real to her, and it was a part of her life. But she was also she believed in God, and she wanted to do right by her religion. So this was under the table for our family for many, many years. And when she died, she gave in 1986, she was almost 90 something when she died. She gave the deck to my mom. And a year later, my mom had me, and I kind of feel like she knew that I was going to take these cards and use them. And I was about 9 when I finally would watch my mom play with her girlfriends at ladies' night at the house. And I would sit there contently and watch her and ask again, what does this card mean? What does this card mean? And as I got older, she kept trying to hide them from me, and I would find them. She would put them in the corner of a closet underneath blankets, and I would still find them. And finally at 15, she was like, they're yours. Like, I can't keep them from you. Go ahead and have them. And I would read for any of my friends that would listen or were open to listening to me. And finally at 33, 34, I'm going to take the dive. I talked to my mom a lot. I prayed to my great grandmother, like, should I do this? And I always wanted to help heal people, and I wasn't the brightest young adult. So how am I going to heal people? How am I going to help people? And that's when I was about to go to ACC, and I came into your store and I told you about them, and you were like, let me have an audition, and the rest is history.
Well, for those that are watching, her cards are really old. And the one thing that I told Samantha when I first met with her was that we needed to make a copy of them because I didn't want to wear them out using them at the center. So I think now she has a couple sets set up, because I've saw her panic more than once when she thinks she's lost her cards and she's like losing her mind trying to find them.
If my
So
head wasn't attached, I'd probably lose that.
so we've gotten her several sets. So I love the story and I love the process, and I know you love to help people, and I know that's like a big deal for you. So how do the cards show you love? What card do you pull out of your deck for love? Because I know each of them have such great pictures on them. Can you share some of those with us and just kind of show us some of the cards and the meanings?
Yes. So my favorite card in the deck ever since I was a little girl was the wish card. And it's always like hit or miss. You're going to get this card or you're not. And if you get this card, especially in a certain spread I do, it means that whatever you're desiring, one way or another, however it's supposed to pan out, it will work out for you. One of my own stories is I used to always wish for unconditional love. I would receive it and I would give it. It's gonna make me cry. And I would always say that I would get it, but no one would ever, I was always single. And then my son came to me. And then I got my unconditional love.
Yes, we know he is the center of your world, and we love that. We love that. He is the center of your world. So that's pretty awesome.
Yes.
I remember one of the cards looks like a mailbox or something that you're going to get mail. And I've heard your story about, in the 1800s, that's how we received all communication. But today, communication can come in different forms. So you've actually utilized it to show different forms. So mail coming.
So that's what's really about these cards. They're so old. You have to really, I always say you got to use a thesaurus when you think of these cards, because it's not like a traditional tarot. And I realized that when you kind of mentioned it, that it's not an oracle deck and it's not a tarot deck. You have to really think outside the box, especially nowadays. Like, we don't get regular letters anymore. We get emails, we get text messages. That's how we communicate, phone calls. And another one, especially, because not a lot of people are jealous about things in their lives, when maybe jealousy was a huge thing in the 1800s. But I think of like resentment, letting go of resentment, letting go of animosity. So those are like a synonyms for jealousy. And a lot of times when they hear jealousy, they're like, wait a minute. And I'm like, think of, do you have resentments? And they're like, okay, that one hit. And it's like, you have to think outside the box because they're so old.
And they're evolving. They're evolving with you. They're evolving and coming through with you. They're evolving to new meanings, just like oracle and tarot cards. When you pull those, they can have different meanings for different people depending on what the question is, what's going on, what are the other cards. And so these have the same energy. They can have different meanings throughout.
Oh yeah, especially because my spreads are in threes. So if you remember, I pull 3 cards. Sometimes now learning, you need an extra card, because 3 cards aren't going to tell you everything. That extra card is going to give you more advice or more in depth. And oftentimes and not, it helps ring true. But it also, like, you have to read through the lines with the 3. So like, here we have enemies, communication, and the resentment or jealousy card. And it's just telling you to like communicate through that, get through, or you have to stop communicating with people who are serving you no good and you feel these feelings from them. Mm-hmm. So it's just the sequence that help.
Well, I love how you do it. And for those watching, people come in and get a reading from Sam, and then they go home and they bring their wife back, or they bring their husband back, or they bring their daughters in. she ends up reading for the whole family before it's all over with. So
Yeah.
uh, and she has lots of people that come back over and over again to see her at the center. So it's pretty awesome.
I work, and what makes my heart so full is I work with a lot of counselors. I met with one counselor, and then she introduced me to 5 of her colleagues, and then they introduced me to their friends. And it's I see a lot of correctional officers, and it just so happens they come into the store looking for something, and I kind of explain myself, and they're like, I need to talk to you. And then they'll send in their colleagues, and I feel like I am helping those who are helping others. So it's like my hand is reaching further, and it makes me so happy.
Well, I love that when we can help people, right? And when we
Yes,
can make their days better, or just help uplift their spirits, or
yes.
give them a different focus for the day.
Or figure out which way to go. I have a lot of that too. Like, what way do I take my life? And you ask the cards, I need guidance, give me guidance. And I help convey, if they should go this route, or, take the safer route. But it's a lot of clarity in these cards.
And I love that. I love that, right?
Yeah.
Spirit always shows us the possibilities, always shows us what can be. And there's typically not just one answer. There are several answers. It's looking at the whole broad, and you get to choose which one you get. But here are some insights of some of those choices. So I love being able to provide that to people so that they can find that, right? So what is some of the wisdom that you've gathered with working at the center and working with people? How have you grown in your aspect, and how have you helped others grow?
I don't know how I've helped others, but I do know, like, the center, it has opened my mind and my eyes and my heart to so many different new things that I didn't even know were there. Fairies, for instance, for a while, like, I knew that they were there, and then it wasn't until I was closing one night and I saw one, and she was like, I'm here, girl. I'm here. Don't doubt me. And I was, from that moment, like, they're there to help as long as you help them. Mm-hmm. As long as you give back to them, they will help you in other ways. And I had no idea. I had no idea. And now that I open myself up and I let go of my own ego, I have been able to feel and see different beings and creatures that are here to help us that I had no idea. I just thought there were angels and spirits, like our family, and I had no idea there were other planes and other beautiful things that are helping us throughout our life.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of people come in. We get lots of visitors that are like, yeah, mermaids. And I'm like, they're real. They're real. You just got to be open to the energy that's all around us. They're within us, and they're around us, and they're in the space, and they exist because I believe in them, and I know that they're there, and I see them, and I communicate with them. So, it's a safe place for them to come in and hang out. So you just got to be open. Those that are listening, we have 33 fairy doors and homes that are hidden throughout the center, and you can come in and you can do the fairy door challenge, where you go through and look for all the fairy doors, and then at the end we give you free fairy dust. And so adults, kids, teenagers, everyone loves going through and reading about the stories of each of the fairies that live in the center, and where they live and what their houses are, and they're all very different.
Yes.
Makes it kind of cool.
And one thing also that because I just love them so much, is the glitter. I had no idea that it was harming them. And that's when I was like, I am bringing all my sprinkles to you, even if we use them or not. Here, little fairies, take my sprinkles because I do not want to hurt you. I had no idea.
Yeah, people don't. When you make fairy dust and you put glitter in, it's harmful to the planet and
And
harmful
it's
to them. And so we use colored sugar in our fairy dust because that's safe for them and that's not going to hurt them. And so people come and they learn all kinds of things at the center, which is really fun. But
so many things that we have no idea. And if you're just open to receiving, they're willing to give.
they really are. And I can't recommend Samantha enough if you're, curious and you want to come and check out a reading or check out her cards or sit down with her. She brings her heart to everything that she does.
Thank you.
She really does. And she's just a bubble of joy. And so she's there on Thursday. So you can call the center and schedule a reading with her. It's probably best to call and schedule because she does get appointments and people do stop in. Doesn't mean you can't stop in and get a reading, but sometimes it's best to call and schedule that appointment so you have that slot with her. And then just come in and experience a reading with her, bring your questions and let her use her beautiful, very sacred cards to kind of connect and help you in that manner. So Samantha, thank you so much for being with me today and joining me on this. I'm so happy that you're at the center and I'm so happy that you share your gifts with the world.
I'm thankful that I found you. And I'm probably going to be in to get some candles and do my calendar because I forgot to do it yesterday.
All right. Well, you come in and you do your stuff. Those that are watching, thank you so much for taking the time today. We hope to see you really soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.
Bye.